Hello, and welcome back to Warped, the completely unnecessary Star Trek podcast, where we provide live audio commentary tracks to Star Trek The Next Generation episodes. My name is Matt.
I'm Shawn.
I'm Jake.
Aaron.
Minwin.
I'm A.
Yes.
And we are watching, what are we watching? Season 3, episode 12?
Yeah.
The High Ground.
The High Ground.
Oh, yeah.
You may have caught last week's episode. We were talking about this week's episode a lot.
Yeah, if you listened to last week, you've already heard most of the things we have to say about this week's episode.
Or if you were listening to last week's episode, you may have skipped to this week's episode because we were talking about it so much. In which case, good on you.
Yeah, fine.
Correct choice.
How much time is on the clock, John?
We got 45 minutes and 52 seconds on the clock, and I'm punching the triangle in 3, 2, 1, punch.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Now it's working.
That's what we're talking about.
Producer Jake edited out the last 5 minutes.
That's right.
I don't know. It's pretty good material. It's pretty scintillating. Here we go.
I like the police uniforms.
Oh, they went to Judge Dredd for the helmets.
Yeah, they've got some fancy space helmets on.
I mean, I wouldn't call them fancy.
We take real good care of our heads, but on our legs, sweats.
I like that they have a food court. That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
So last week we talked about how it was mostly a metaphor for sort of Vietnam War veterans and how you treat your soldiers when they come back from war. This episode is almost too explicitly about Northern Ireland.
Yes.
It's absolutely about.
On.
You can tell it was done in the late 80s because it's all about the Troubles.
And in fact,
the point where the guy is named Finn, like the main guy, like they're not trying to be subtle about it. They're like, oh, these are Irish. These are space Irish is what these are. They don't have Irish accents. That's about the only thing they didn't.
The
only trick they didn't pull.
This
I guess they did that before they did that with the cow ladies. They didn't figure they could get away with that.
This episode was originally banned in the United Kingdom and the Republic of Ireland.
Wow.
Because they talk about the IRA and the reunification of Ireland.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
2024.
It's the two reals and a fake.
Yes, that's the two reals and the fake.
Yeah.
Except the second is not a real, though. It's also
You're saying it's a real and two fakes? This is unprecedented.
It's a little unbalanced.
I'm pretty sure it was. We'll see. We'll get there. But anyways, yes, the British government did not appreciate it. The first time it was shown in Britain was in 2006.
Oh wow!
Interesting. That's late.
It usually just gets skipped when it's running when they do the running order.
Oh.
You know,
I
guess they must just not have wanted any portrayal at all, because I would not call this a pro-terrorist episode. Like they're pretty much not on the side of the rebels in this episode. Like they're sympathetic to the cause, maybe, but Picard has no patience for their tactics. Like,
yeah, the only thing is that he realizes that they are making it unfair by only supplying the one side.
Sure, but he didn't even know they were doing that until they got there.
Right, that's what he realizes eventually.
Oh, yeah, more fighting, a lot of fighting.
They took Beverly.
Beverly's been kidnapped.
Bastards.
This is a Beverly episode, you guys.
Well, that's fun.
It is fun. She's great in it, too.
Yeah.
We're watching Season 3, Episode 12, The High Ground. Original air date January 27th, 1990. While visiting a planet under civil war, Dr. Crusher is taken hostage by an opposing faction of the planet's ruling government. Aaron, what do you think the IMDb rating of this episode is?
7.2.
Oh, wow. Strong.
All right.
7.4.
7.
You did not say that with the conviction you said last week.
Nope. And take note.
But
did you watch this one?
Yeah.
Okay. So you didn't like it as much as you liked last week's?
Nah. It didn't hit as hard.
Fair enough.
But I think Shawn drew our attention to the fact that May always votes 7.
Yeah, but sometimes she wins it. Sometimes she just says it.
It's not what she votes, it's how she votes.
That's right.
Votes, yeah.
That's exactly right.
You can hear the disdain in her voice when she said 6.
I liked this one. I'm going to say 7. What's the highest bid so far? 7.2? I'm going to say 7.6.
I said 7.4, I think.
Oh. Okay. Win?
What? Just to cover my bases.
1?
Yeah, 1.
You are correct, sir. It's 6.8.
Yeah. Nice. I was going to say 6.5, but I just wanted to
$1 them all.
It's better. I think it's better than a 6.8.
Yeah.
I like that Beverly gets a lot to do in this one.
That's probably why the nerdos don't like it, because a woman's involved in the storyline.
Yeah, you could be right about that.
Oh.
Did you?
I could be right about that.
Yeah, you could be right about that. I meant what I said.
Yeah, that's how Matt is. He's a straight shooter.
It's not how he says it, it's what he says.
That's right.
Do you guys know that you guys don't spend as much time on Twitter as I do, but you guys know that gif of Nene from Real Housewives where she goes, "I said what I said." That's what I meant right then.
Okay. You'll have to send it in chat. That'd be good.
The other interesting other thing about this episode that's interesting. First episode of the Star Trek franchise written and directed by a woman.
Oh.
Cool.
Written by Melinda M. Snodgrass and directed by Gabrielle Beaumont.
Oh.
The only other Star Trek episode to be completely written and directed by women is Exile, which I think is probably Voyager episode, 2003.
So there's only 2, you say?
Yep.
Oh.
I also like how this one is
the new ones?
focused on Dr. Crusher.
No, I'll bet that doesn't include the new ones. I'll bet that's only through the Scott Bakula one, Enterprise.
Yeah, the new ones are.
And both of those people were like very prolific Star Wars. You know, Melinda Snodgrass.
Yeah, I see her name on.
There are other episodes where a woman was the director and then a woman was one of the writers.
No, I understand what you're saying. I'm saying that both of those people separately have done a lot of Star Trek. Because Gabrielle Beaumont, who directed this one, she directs a lot of these episodes too.
It's getting the combo.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Star Trek with Scott Bakula the least popular one?
Well, it ran the shortest of the new shows.
And it was sort of like 5 years after Voyager, or was it less than that?
I think it was right. I think it was maybe the same year that Voyager ended. Like it was.
What was that series called?
It was called Star Trek Enterprise.
Oh,
it's called.
I think that show suffered from Star Trek fatigue because Star Trek had been on. Star Trek had been on in one form or another for since '87, and so I think there was just people were like, "Oh, it's just another Star Trek show."
Yeah.
So
interesting.
I mean, it ran 4 seasons. It wasn't like it was a flop, but I don't think it ever caught on the way the other shows did.
Because I know the Voyager one with Kate Mulgrew, but I very rarely think about the Scott Bakula one. And when you brought it up, Shawn, I was like, oh yeah, that is a Star Trek series.
It sure is. If you can say one thing about it, it is a Star Trek television series.
Is it any good? Is it just it's sort of like
I was never all that into it, so I haven't seen that much of it. I think when that came on, I was not watching a lot of television in general.
Well, it'll be interesting to watch it with you with the warp crew then.
Yeah, in 10 years we'll be getting to Star Trek.
Maybe one of us will have passed away by then. Who knows?
Damn.
One hour.
That old.
I pray for it every day. But...
sweet death for my
release.
Sweet release.
Not another warped episode to do.
No, I love doing Warped. I missed you guys. I have missed
for sure.
Been a couple
It's been a
weeks,
few
so
weeks.
yeah.
since we
Mhm.
recorded, so I'm just
Yeah.
happy to hear you guys again. Do you want a quick plot summary?
Yes,
People who have not
please.
seen this episode. So there's a sort of terrorist / rebel faction on this planet, depending on who you ask, what your point of view is. But there's this sort of rebellious faction. They're the ones who kidnapped Dr. Crusher. And this woman is in charge of security for the main government of this planet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all, like I said, it's all a sort of Northern Ireland metaphor. So it's all about this sort of ongoing battle between these two, between the government and the rebels. And the rebels, because they are overmatched and overpowered, kind of resort to terroristic. They're the ones who blew up that bomb at the very beginning of the episode.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they do things like bomb, innocent people.
Kidnap people.
And kill people and kill innocent people.
Yeah.
I mean, they admit that they kill innocent people. So they only have really one advantage, which is they have this magic transporter that's better than all the other transporters, and it can beam anywhere, even if you've got shields or whatever.
Oh, wow.
But the problem
It's
with
completely undetectable as well.
and it's completely undetectable. So it's like their one trick is that they can jump in, cause a lot of chaos, and then jump back out right before anybody even knows they were there, basically. But the downside to it is that it fucks you up physically. So every time they use it, they get a little bit
slowly
sick.
killing them.
Eventually, it will kill them. But they don't really have any other weapons at their disposal, so they're using this transporter, even though they know that it's causing. They've kidnapped Dr. Crusher because they need a doctor, because their people are dying from using this magic transporter that they have. So they've kidnapped her on purpose because they need her to help them. So that's what this episode is about.
This actor's name is Richard Cox.
And what do we know him from?
Good old Dick Cox.
Yeah.
He's in Cruising.
Yeah, because he's
he is.
The Al Pacino movie where he plays a gay guy to stop a transsexual murder or something like that.
Yeah.
Doesn't he kind of have the same vibe as the soldier dude in the previous episode?
No,
It's pretty
I feel like it.
He absolutely does. And
this guy feels sassier.
These two episodes, last week and this week, are remarkably similar, to the point that you kind of wish they had maybe spread them out in this season a little more.
It seemed like it would have been an easy decision to do that, but no.
I mean, I'm sure there were production reasons. Maybe they didn't have a choice, and it was the episode that was ready to go that week, so that's the one they put out. But it definitely was a little bit repetitive watching this one.
But come on, look at this shot on Dr. Crusher. We didn't get that last episode.
That's good
lighting. Well, that is one thing that this episode has over the last episode. There's a lot more Beverly involved.
Yes.
Yeah, last week was Troy was sort of the person who
Troy was sort of a beauty shot.
Troy was sort of the point of view character last week. Like she was the one sort of arguing for the side of the rebels, and then this week it's Beverly. Although she never really sides with them. I mean, she's
like, look,
she's sympathetic to their problems, but she also does not agree. People. Yeah, she doesn't agree with their tactics at all. Yeah.
One of the other things that's going on too is, if I remember correctly, the Federation has a deal with they're selling weapons to the non-rebels, the main people on the planet.
No, not weapons, like medical supplies.
Oh, medical supplies. Okay, yeah. They're still. They're not giving the same thing to the rebels.
Well, they don't know that the rebels exist. Like when they get there, they're coming because they've received a request for like emergency medical supplies. So they've come to this planet to bring these people like relief aid, but they don't know anything about the war. Like they don't find that out until they get down there.
Okay.
Well, that's not entirely true because Picard in the opening does talk about the fact that there's this civil war going on, but they don't they don't know much about the other side of the war.
Can I point out that her jacket that she had on before had mad shoulders, and now her shirt underneath has mad shoulders?
I mean, it was the 80s. We talk about this all the time.
Now I just want to imagine
her. Out that for some reason she's got Data's arm behind her.
What?
Oh, yeah, what's that?
It's a chair.
Yeah, it's a chair. It's just
really far away.
Yeah, she's got the cool furniture. Come on.
Yeah.
Actually, she's got a David Bowie vibe going on right now. But yeah, they really like those shoulders on that planet. Maybe they give off a sense of power.
Has anyone here rocked suspenders in their life?
I used to wear them all the time.
A little bit.
Really?
Oh,
What kind? What were you up to?
He was going through his Mork phase.
Nice.
I would get like the fancy ones too that you needed to get buttons put on the trousers.
Wow!
Yeah, it was all that hipster swing music bullshit that was happening in the mid-90s. Everyone was
derby, but I did like the suspenders.
Everyone was dressing like they were hepcats from the 1940s.
Do you still have any suspenders, Shawn?
I don't think so. I think they've all disappeared.
When
I moved from the Rose Avenue apartment to live with my wife, a lot of things got left behind, and I believe the suspenders were a part of that.
Some things were no longer allowed in the house. And I have to believe those were some of them.
Don't dox yourself now, Shawn. You're gonna, whoever edits this, you're gonna have to bleep that out. You know, don't let them hunt you down.
Oh, okay.
The suspenders people. Yeah.
All of the people will eventually anger and upset.
Sure, big
You
suspender.
think they're going to be able to find where I am now by starting at the Rose Avenue apartments?
Yeah.
Big cat as well. We were talking about Big Cat earlier. They've got ears.
Yeah, they've got ears.
They've got cat-like ears, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
All right, where's the rim shot now, Matt?
Sorry, I wasn't ready for it. I can't make the joke and do my own,
give your own rim shot.
Too much work.
Yeah, you're asking a lot. Come on.
I think that this episode, what I like about this episode as opposed to last week's, even though they're very similar, is that this episode is a little more kind of ambivalent about who the good guys and the bad guys are. Like, they don't solve the problem in this episode, you know.
Well, they didn't do it in the last episode either.
Yeah, but you got the sense from Picard that they picked a side, right?
Yeah,
they clearly picked the side.
Okay.
I mean,
They clearly picked the side of the rebels.
Yeah.
In this episode, it's a little more ambivalent, which I thought was interesting. Star Trek is usually so black and white, you know, when it's on its moral episodes.
Mm.
This is also, speaking of Wesley Crusher, there he is.
Yes.
This is kind of a Wesley saves the ship episode. He doesn't save the ship, but he does solve he comes up with the idea that solves
Nuclear
the transporter
vibration
problem.
So are you going to mark it for him?
Well, that's what I'm asking. I'm asking all of you, because while I was watching this, I was like, this is kind of Wesley saving the day. Like, what do you guys think? Those of you who watched this, do we count this as a Wesley saves the day episode?
I mean, he plays a part. He
doing it right now
during that part.
Wait theorem.
If that's enough for you, then I'm cool with
it. Sure.
I mean, he does kind of crack the problem. He's doing it right now.
Oh yeah, I say it counts. We always said we were going to be judicious about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to mark it down.
Well done, Wesley.
What does that put us up to?
I don't know, because I don't
3?
have the post-it right.
Oh, you don't have your post-it.
Oh no, it's way more than 3. It's way more.
Guessing it's 8, 9 maybe now.
We're probably in the 8-ish range.
Oh wow!
Which over 3 seasons, you know, is not really that many. But
but considering he's not a major main character, right? It's not bad.
Yeah, they all have skunk patches. That's the transporter die. Got it.
No, they all have it. I don't. Not just
not her.
Order. No.
It's just the style of the day.
It's like those shoulders.
I thought it was to show they were slowly dying before their time.
No, because the other people have it too.
That's true.
Do you think her and Riker hit it off?
No, in fact, they kind of don't
hate each other.
Like, yeah, but they still
they're just like, he doesn't agree with her text. This is very much a, oh, you Federation, you're so naive, you don't understand what it's like to have a real problem kind of episode. Like,
yeah,
Riker's like, why are you arresting those children? And the lady's like,
child you're putting in handcuffs.
Yeah, and she's like, the last bomb that went off, a kid blew it. A kid was the one who did it. So, yeah, we're investigating the children too.
Yeah.
Did they show her helper kid yet?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I knew I recognized the kid.
Oh man, is this guy falling in love? Sorry.
He's from Don't Tell the Mom Babysitter's Dead.
Oh.
The brother in the family that Christina Applegate is like the older sister of.
Is he?
Huh. You know, I thought he looked familiar, and I didn't know where from. But it can't be from that, because I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
He's in Point Break.
Oh, maybe it's Point Break.
That's where I knew his face from. I was like, that's a kid from somewhere.
He was on SeaQuest DSV.
I did watch that back in the day.
I like that show.
I did too.
There was a guy from Indio High School on that show. That was like the big deal about it around the homes around Indio, is that Marco Sanchez, hometown boy, was on a series.
Got on a Steven Spielberg
series. Yeah.
How long did it run? Like 2-3 seasons?
A season, I think.
Oh, just a season.
I think
it might have been a little more than that, but not. It wasn't that much. Yeah, I think it was 2 or 3, but I could be wrong.
I mean, what was it like? Deep Sea.
Steven Spielberg was just obsessed with
it was underwater Star Trek.
Oh.
Yeah, it was Star Trek, except they were in the ocean. They weren't in outer space. Roy Scheider from Jaws was the star of it, and they had a talking. It had a talking dolphin, and it had a Wesley. That show had a total Wesley.
Yeah, it was Jonathan Brandis.
Jonathan Brandis. Yeah,
I am in love.
R.I.P.
Idea of a talking dolphin. Is it as good as it sounds, or no?
No, it's awesome.
Yeah,
he was Jonathan Brandis's best friend. It was amazing.
Yeah, you would talk to him.
Who played the voice of the talking dolphin? Do you guys remember?
No, he would just make that. I love you.
It was like robot. Yeah, it was like robot voice sounding.
So it was the data.
So SeaQuest ran from 93 to 96. 3 seasons, 57 episodes.
Okay.
You didn't give them a lot of credit there, Shawn.
I didn't. Yeah. 57 episodes, not bad. It did star Roy Scheider, Peter DeLuise, Michael DeLuise.
And then you remember when Steven Spielberg opened that submarine-themed restaurant at the Century City Mall?
Yes, Dive.
It was called Dive.
And
it was it had a big, huge yellow submarine sticking out the side of the building.
You went there a lot, Shawn, or
not a lot, but like they had these great French fries with all these super cool dipping sauces.
They had all those drawers with water in them.
They had tons of drawers with water.
They had a lot of drawers with water in them.
And they had it was all like sub sandwiches was like the main thing.
Yeah,
we had other stuff. That was sort of their hook on the menu. And every like half an hour they would go. The lights would start flickering and everything, and then they'd start going, dive.
Why did it go out of business?
Yeah.
It was.
I tried to keep it in business, Aaron. Trust me. All right, I did my part. What were you doing?
I not been in this part of the country, but
I'm sending a picture to you guys. Oh no, this is sending a picture to you of the front of Dive.
Oh my God, that looks awesome!
It was at the Century City Mall. It was during that era of like very gimmicky restaurants.
Sure, like the Rainforest Cafe.
Like you would go to Ed DeBevick's and they would dance on.
Oh yeah, I remember Ed DeBevick.
You have places like Rainforest Cafe where
yes.
So Dive's gimmick was that it was submarine themed, and so what Shawn said was they served submarine sandwiches. That was like the thing. and they had really good fries with the different dipping sauces, and it was like a little show. It was heavily themed, like a Disneyland restaurant.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
You went in and it was the whole thing looked like you were in a submarine. And then a
really, really large submarine.
Right. A restaurant-sized submarine. And then they would do that whole dive thing, and everyone would clap because it was fun, Remember when things were just fun? You could just go to a place and have fun and
have a good time.
It has so many bells and whistles. It's like eating in a pinball machine. Aggravating.
Yeah.
When you talk about the dive, I'm like, oh my god.
Where's your whimsy?
You were there. You were there for that. If you didn't get that, you didn't have a good experience at dive.
Yeah,
because that was part of the fun.
I like
on a typical meal. You'd hear at least two. If you got a third one in, that was a long time.
And all the bubbles would go up on like the water walls, so you were diving. It was cool.
Yep.
The only thing it didn't do was actually move. Like
shake.
It was basically like eating. It was basically like eating inside of Star Tours, except it didn't move at all.
Well, thank God. I would not do well if I was eating in a Star Tours. I already have a
idea
tough
about
time.
this. It said it went out of business in 1999. That's before I moved to California. That's so funny.
Oh, is that
the new Augustus?
Oh yeah, that's Gus. Yeah, he's
so cute.
Welcome to the world, Augustus.
Welcome to the podcast.
The future, really.
It's been in the world for a while.
He's newly adopted.
It's welcome to the podcast, man. No.
Welcome to the podcast.
He's fitting in, enjoying himself, not freaked out about all the weird stuff you guys are saying. I feel like he's part of the family.
Well, it helps that he doesn't understand a word we're saying.
So we're coming up on sort of the one big, there's one sort of big action-y scene in this episode, and it's about to happen. Beverly, the baddie has revealed that he is going to destroy the Enterprise.
Oh,
and Beverly has said, please don't. I have a son.
Yeah.
My son is up on the ship, and he's like, I'm sorry, but I'm doing it anyway.
Damn.
So now they're beaming into the ship using their magic beamer, and they're gonna blow up the ship, or try to.
I thought he said she was gonna see her son again. That was a lie?
Yeah.
Fuck. That's messed up.
Yeah, he's trying to get what he wanted to get.
That makes me realize I would be a bad revolutionary leader. I just couldn't lie to the people I capture. Which I think is you might need to sometimes when you're leading the revolution.
Yeah, and that's sort of his point to Beverly is like, look, you have to do terrible things in a war sometimes. Like, he's like, I'm not happy about these things, but I'm doing them because I have a cause to win.
Oh, but then Wesley's going to save the day, is what you were saying.
No, he already did his part. He's basically done from here on out. Like, his thing was figuring out. His thing was figuring out how the magic transporter that the rebels are using, how it works, so that they're going to be able to counteract the magic transporter.
Okay.
Thanks to Wesley's brains.
But they still have to deal with the explosive on the warped.
Got to get that bomb off the warp core. You can't have that thing going on.
We've got a time clock now.
Okay.
Well, that was
pretty short.
Took it right off.
He picks it up. He beams it right out into space. It's not really a time clock because it only
poorly designed bomb.
Yeah.
If it's that easy to remove and send out to space. I want these rebels to lose now. They suck.
Don't it's because they only have the one thing, right? Other than the transporter, they are completely outmatched. Like, they don't have any technology other than the transporter.
Yeah.
And here they are on the bridge, causing some problems, shooting some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have we ever seen Jean-Luc just flat out punch somebody?
No, it's usually
We should drink for that.
Oh,
good job.
Oh no! Oh, Jean-Luc's gone.
Well,
He can
now
talk his way out.
Jean-Luc and Beverly are together.
You share a long, knowing look.
A long, I'm so happy to see you and I love you. Look.
Yeah.
I think that
Ah,
those are the moments where the loins really get fired up, right? Is it just me?
Sure they do for you.
Is when the lines get fired up.
Yeah. Don't they talk about revolution babies? No? Maybe it's something
You mean like when people are rebelling, they have a tendency to want to bone a lot.
yeah.
So a lot of babies get born. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Or when things are just like really chaotic and uncertain, like you don't know if like you'll live till tomorrow. Then people like have just they lose their inhibition. They're like, fuck it, let's do it.
Patrick Stewart and Gates McFadden are both really, really good in this scene. Like, just like trying to figure out what they're gonna do and how they're gonna get out of this. They're both. I just thought this was a really good scene between the two of them. They have good chemistry.
mm-hmm.
They argue as kind of equals in the scene too.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's like, I should have beamed you up, and she's like, you can't beam me up without my permission.
And now he's complimenting Wesley.
Yeah, that's the first nice thing he's ever said in his entire life about Wesley.
Did he just roll his eyes? I don't know. What was
He's
that?
like, your kid's okay.
He gets embarrassed when people compliment him,
Yeah, okay. I mean, they do in this light too. They also look. You know what? Maybe it's not the lighting. Maybe it's me.
No, I think you're right. I mean, like we said, this is when the show kind of feels like itself. The way it looks, and they've got her wig situation figured out. Like her hair is, her hair is good.
Wig situation.
It's all good. It's all good from this point on. But speaking of some times when it was not so good, how would you guys feel about a corrections corner?
Yeah.
Love it.
Sean's excited. Yeah.
Jake, play the jingle.
Correction corner.
These are corrections from episode 112, The Last Outpost.
That sounds way back when.
Aaron, you'll recall The Last Outpost. It was the very first episode where we saw the Ferengi.
Yes.
Oh, right.
Do you remember, can you tell me any fact about the Ferengi?
Yes. Do it. You can do it, Aaron.
They have a strange appearance.
Nice. Well done.
Yes, but that's pretty vague. Can you be any more specific than that?
Yeah, show your work.
I know there's one part that you remember.
Give me a teaser.
They have one very prominent facial feature.
I think more than one.
But but there's the main
They're
one.
known for having an exceptionally large something on their face.
There's only so many things on a face. Take a guess.
Yeah, there are so few choices.
Not from your dreams.
Face loins.
Ears. Did you say ears?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Yeah, ears.
But do you remember the nice headdresses that they wear? I thought you might remember the headdresses that they wear.
They have big, huge ears.
Yeah.
And they're very greedy. That's their other sort of main
They
character.
act cartoonish.
And that first episode, it's like they're super, super racist too.
Right. It's sort of it's
sort of a Jewish.
I'll post a picture of a Ferengi into the chat real quick so you can remind yourself of what they look like.
They've also got those teeth.
They do have jagged teeth. So anyway, Last Outpost was the first appearance of the Ferengi. It was also our first quarantine episode. It was the first time we were recording remotely.
Wow.
So we were all very sort of like, what's this going to be like? How is this going to work?
It was all downhill from there.
And here we are a year later.
And this is something like episode 175.
Still complaining about the audio quality. Still unhappy.
Well, it's hard. It's online is not. I'm surprised. The 21st century. Come on, guys. Come on, Google tech. Let's solve this for crying out loud. Shouldn't be this hard.
Philippe and Aaron had just watched a movie on Amazon Prime called Summer Camp.
Yeah.
He's talking about I don't know why. I don't know why, but he was talking about Aaron and Philippe having sex with each other. And they mentioned that they had watched this movie Summer Camp, which is sort of a late 70s TNA kind of comedy.
It's good, right, Sean?
Softcore.
Yeah, I was going to ask because people said, "Oh, we'll watch it." I was just curious.
I did.
If anybody...
I watched it.
And what did you think?
It was, it was funny. It was pretty goofy.
Doesn't sound like
you can tell it's like
a lot of boobs in
it's
it.
like just a step above porn.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Like,
the guy
people
who directed
normally do porn, not doing porn.
Yeah, and the guy who directed it, Philippe mentioned this in the episode. The guy who directed it directed porn. Like this was
the light romp.
This was one of his rare like non-porn productions.
He was being artistic.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron, did you remember enjoying it? Were you titillated?
It's funny. It was like fun. Nice. It was a good movie. I was not expecting to find that movie.
I wrote this down because I thought it was funny. Aaron called it, and this is a direct quote, a fucking masterpiece.
It was.
Well, I don't know if I'll go that far, but it's pretty good.
It's only $1. It's only $1.99 on Amazon Prime.
Oh, now they charge for it.
Yeah, it was free.
$2? Come on. Did it get you in the mood to bone?
It was a good time. It was very sex positive, that film.
Yes.
Yeah. I looked at the poster.
They're just having a good time at camp. Everyone's just having a good time. Yeah. It's just silliness. 70s silliness.
What's this movie about?
The tagline on the poster says panty raids, short sheets,
yes,
food fights, and then underneath that it says after lights out, it's gross out.
No wonder Philippe likes it.
It was great. I wish there were more movies like it.
Was it gross though?
No.
Okay.
Wow.
Good.
Silly.
It's a bad tagline. It doesn't rhyme, and you want something that sounds sexy, not something
right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wait, is it a horror? Has a horror element?
No.
Oh, that totally makes me think.
It's just goofy comedy.
It's a summer camp reunion where they all just go and hook up.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a terrible tagline.
Agreed.
It's Porky's, right? It's just a Porky's kind of
misleading.
More meatballs.
We should rewrite their tagline. What was the start? After lights out. So, then something. Okay.
I don't know. I think I would start from scratch.
Yeah. It's uninspired.
We have to use the same setup.
No.
I mentioned that there was a book about Captain Picard's management style, that some people had written a leadership book for like businessmen about Captain Picard being a good manager of people. I couldn't remember what it's called. It's called Make It So: Leadership Lessons from Star Trek: The Next Generation. It's written by Wes Roberts, PhD, and Bill Ross.
No, when they put PhD in their title, that's not a good sign. Go on.
So anyway, like I said, it's just one of those books that's like, you can learn how to be a good leader by watching Star Trek.
Is it only focused on Picard?
Yeah, it's all about Picard. But it turns out that one of these guys wrote another book that I guess was also a management type book. So on the back of Make It So, it says, from the 1 million copy best-selling author of Leadership Secrets of blank. Who do you think the blank is? This guy wrote a book about Picard. But he had already written a leadership book about another person.
A real world
from the
leader.
best-selling author of Leadership Secrets of blank.
Is it a fictitious
Who'd fill
person?
in the blank?
No, I think
it's a
real person.
Real person.
I want to say Bill Clinton.
When was it written?
This Make It So was written, I don't know when the show was on, so like in the 90s.
So that the first book was written in like the 80s.
It is a historical figure. It is somebody who is as far away from Jean-Luc Picard as a manager as you could possibly imagine.
Genghis Khan.
You're so close. It's Attila the Hun.
Wow.
Oh.
From the author of Leadership Secrets of Attila the Hun comes Make It So, Leadership Secrets from Jean-Luc Picard.
People are just desperate at the airport bookstore.
Two people who have very different management styles.
Yeah, I would say.
Attila the Hun? I mean, how do you apply that? It's like
Attila the Hun, or
okay. First rule of business: if you have a competitor in the office, marry one of your daughters to him, and have that daughter betray them, so then you can then
the daughter
take over
and kill the father.
Yeah.
I thought that was so funny that those were the two books that guy had written. I talked about how I thought when they upgraded this show to Blu-ray, I think I said that they had not redone the effects. That was wrong. They did redo the visual effects. When they upgraded it to high def.
All the outside stuff.
Yeah.
All the space stuff.
Seems more contemporary than
Worf finally manages to beat somebody just now without getting his ass kicked, which is nice for him. We talked about Chinese finger traps, and Jake said that he thought that was racist and that we don't call them Chinese
Oh, really?
anymore. So I looked, and we didn't know what the origin of the Chinese finger trap was. So I did a little bit of research. I guess you can call them finger cuffs.
Yeah.
So you don't really need to. You can just sort of leave the Chinese,
drop the Chinese
off of it, and just call them finger cuffs.
Oh.
There is some dispute over where these things come from. Some of the places I looked said
China?
that they were Some of the places said that in the 6th century, in China, the emperor used them as a way to sort of test people's intelligence, and people who got angry and got stuck were considered like not good to be advisors to the emperor. But then a bunch of the other places say that it was invented by a guy named Joseph D'Antoni of Queens, New York. So they're, conflicting reports.
Love it.
About where this thing comes from. Finger cuffs, not Chinese finger traps. Thank you very much. Yeah. Somebody referred to Yankee traders. May said, is that racist, Yankee traders? I don't think it is, because Yankees are always like white people. So unless you're being like racist against white people, I don't think it's that racist.
You can't be racist against white people.
It's hard to be racist against the ruling class, right? Do you know what does a Yankee trader mean? Does anybody know? If you describe somebody as a Yankee trader, what are you saying about them?
They're from the north?
We tried to talk about that during that episode, right? It was like something to do with like a duplicitous business.
Yeah, I don't know if duplicitous, but like shrewd. Like,
okay.
Yankee traders are supposed to be like just very good,
like
smart.
Yeah, just very like smart, clever
business people.
Yeah.
My mama
wouldn't call me
trader.
One then.
Yeah. Me neither.
Sean said, rest in peace, Cloris Leachman. And at the time, we pointed out to him that Cloris Leachman was still alive, which she was when we recorded that. But she is no longer with us.
Oh,
she
my
died.
God.
What did you do?
What have you done?
I caused it.
Yeah, your fault.
She died. She was alive, and then Sean said R.I.P., and then she died. So,
think of it what you will.
Any more predictions, Sean?
Sequence equals correlation equals causation.
My mouth shut now.
Thank God.
She died in January at age 94 of COVID.
I'm sure we went over her in a pour one out for the homies, but R.I.P. Cloris Leachman.
I mean, that's a long time to live. 94 is quite a legacy.
It was COVID?
Yeah, it was COVID related, whatever.
Oh,
That's unfortunate.
that's sad.
Had 5-6 more years.
Come on, people, get vaccinated.
And that's the end of Corrections Corner for this week.
Well done.
Sweet.
Nice.
That's the end of the episode.
Beautiful, elegant.
I have a question for the women of Warped, because in that episode, the guy, the rebel leader, gave to Dr. Crusher some drawings of her. How would you feel if, like, a rebel leader gave you drawings of you? Or even just a
Funny you
random...
asked, 'cause it's happened to me before.
Uh-huh. Oh, really? You had gotten, like, illustrations of yourself?
I'm just playing.
Oh.
Had he killed children or no?
What you don't know is that Philippe is a rebel fighter, and he's drawn her before.
Mm-hmm.
Like the French girls.
She tells him exactly. They play Titanic.
I like to pretend to be the old lady in Titanic and throw stuff away.
Throws the jewel away.
Like,
Is that what gets
Crazy.
Philippe going?
yeah.
He's into some kinky
For sure.
shit. Well,
on that note, jeez Louise.
It's what gets me.
Thank God the episode ended and I can just cut all of this
Cut it
out.
out.
Like,
none of you won't, though. It's good.
Keep it in, double it.
of this will hear the light of day. Thank you all very much for listening to Warped, the completely unnecessary Star Trek podcast. You can rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. You can email us at warpedthepodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at warpedthepodcast. Buy our merch at Lunar Flare. We are on Twitter at Warped Trek. You can follow me on Twitter at Host Warped. Follow Min to learn about our Dungeons and Dragons and Call of Cthulhu live streams and podcasts at Wet Maynard. Most important, you can go to patreon.com/warped. Become a subscriber, get access to additional material and bonus episodes. You guys, it's a Q episode next week. Are we ready? Episode.
Yeah.
It's a blockbuster of an episode, man. I'm looking forward to it. Aaron, will you be moderating the episode next week?
Yeah,
because it's the
sure.
episode. So there's that to look forward to as well.
Go.
Join us next week for Deja Q. Until then, my name's Matt.
I'm Shawn.
I'm Jake.
Aaron.
Minwin.
I'm 8.
Thank you for listening and goodbye.
Yay. That's right. We got Whoopi Watch going off, right?
Yeah.
Whoopi Watch next week. Whoopi Watch.